The Syrian coast is on fire. News coming in, videos, images, human rights violations, casualties, murderers, clashes, and accusations flying back and forth. Social media is ablaze with reports. We all want to know what is really happening. I am in Homs, and there is a strange movement in the streets, an escalation in the news, sectarian language, and incitements. What is really going on? So, how did it start? Let's go back a little bit in time. Syria was liberated from the control of al-Assad regime on December 8, 2024. A new government took over, and a national dialogue conference was held with diverse participation from the people. Syria was trying to pull itself together to rise again, but the fallen Assad regime wasn't going to give up easily, even after its downfall. On the night of March 7, 2025, remnants and loyalists of the old regime moved to seize control on several key facilities in coastal cities and villages. They committed heinous crimes against members of the new government's public security forces, besieging some of them in strategic locations. Chaos ensued, and perhaps that was the true objective all along. A wave of false reports emerged from unreliable sources, primarily social media accounts with a history of spreading unverified claims. Western media quickly picked up these reports, often falling to fact-check when it comes to Syria. What is the truth? Let's clarify what is really happening. The remnants of the fallen Assad regime attempted to take control of the Syrian coast to create chaos or establish zone of influence. In doing so, they committed massacres against public security forces. A mass grave was discovered in Qardaha in the Syrian coastal region. In response, the public security forces launched operations against the remnants of the old regime. Individuals who sought to destabilize the country and spread disorder. These operations didn't target civilians, nor any specific religious or ethnic groups, according to statements and reports we reviewed. In fact, Christians and minorities are now safer in Syria than they were during the war years, when the country suffered from violence, lawlessness, widespread corruption, human trafficking, and organ trade. I have gathered images and direct reports from people on the ground that expose these fabrications. These are real accounts, not propaganda pieces spread by agenda-driven think tanks. Here are some of the most outrageous false claims that have been debunked. The American Christian Sahar. They claimed she was murdered in Syria, but the real Sahar, who lives in Nevada, debunked this lie herself. Recycled atrocities from 2013. Images from previous chemical attacks carried out by the fallen Assad regime in Ghouta were reused to falsely accuse security forces today. The innocent little girl hoax. A widely circulated image of a young girl supposedly killed by security forces was actually taken from a well-known fashion page. The fake death of Ammar. Social media users claimed Ammar was killed, only for him to later appear laughing at the absurdity of the rumor. The fake priest assassination. Reports claim that Father John Joseph Botros, the alleged spiritual leader of St. Elias Church in Tartus, had been killed. However, the church itself confirmed that no such priest exists. But why now? Why is Syria once again the subject of a coordinated disinformation campaign? The answer lies in the motive of the remnants of al-Assad regime. Individuals wanted for crimes and human rights violations. Some of them had pending sentences from the old regime. Assad's government had ignored the crimes as long as they served its interests. Geopolitics may also play a role. Some forces do not want to see Syria stable, because a strong Syria and independent country directly affect their projects and interests. These deceptive tactics are not new. We have seen similar narrative in Libya, Iraq, and other countries where Western-backed intervention justified destruction and regime change. The strategy remains the same: create hysteria, fabricate evidence, call for international action, and weaken sovereign states. Acknowledging the fact there have been reported violations, and President al-Shara has acknowledged the existence of undisciplined groups. This is actually a strength for the new government, especially since a fact-finding committee has been established. This reassures us all about Syria's future, and we are all optimistic about this responsible approach by the government. Now, what about the human cost? What they ignore while the world rushes to believe and amplify false accusations. The real atrocities committed by the remnants of the old regime go largely unreported. In the past few days alone, more than 300 innocent Syrians have been killed by these forces. Each one of them was a father, a brother, a husband, 300 grieving families left behind. And before them, during the Syrian revolution, more than 1 million martyrs were killed by the former regime and Bashar al-Assad with the help of his allies. Now the question is, where was this international outrage when we need it most? Where were these so-called defenders of justice when Syrians cried out for help? This is not just about Syria. It's about understanding how narratives are shaped and how we must question every claim before accepting it as truth. I mourn the victims from the public security forces and innocent civilians, and I extend my condolences to their families. I hope for a safe Syria for all. I urge you to share this video, engage in discussions, and challenge misinformation whenever you see it. Thank you for watching. Stay informed.